putting yourself first, there ain't nothing wrong with that. And I really put up with a lot of not okay behavior before that, but this is like where I absolutely draw the line. I had bad vibes too. I had bad vibes for years. I had bad vibes since the beginning. And I was so angry. I was like, you don't deserve anything. If any of my guy friends did this, it would be no question to cut that person off. She started blowing me off to just go hook up with guys. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Now What podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Sabey, and today is episode 10. And obviously in my previous episode, I talked about how I was potentially going to have Jackie come back on the pod since she has filmed After the Altar. It's already aired, so she could obviously talk more in depth about things that she couldn't really touch on when she last came on the Now What podcast. But unfortunately, if you've kept up with her season 4, the Seattle one, she's currently going through a breakup with Josh. And so she doesn't really feel up to filming a podcast discussing that whole situation because that's probably what people want to hear her talk about. So understandable, breakups really suck. Even if you weren't a fan of Jackie, I think we can all kind of agree that it's just not a fun thing to go through. So I wasn't going to pressure anybody to come on the podcast if they didn't feel ready to talk about stuff. So maybe sometime in the future we will have Jackie return to the podcast so we can talk more about her experience going on the show and everything. But for now, it is just me. Sorry to disappoint anybody. If you really wanted her to come back on, maybe she'll be back on in the future. But yeah, it's just me. And if you're watching the audio version, it's just me. So instead of Jackie coming on the podcast this week, I decided I was actually having a conversation with one of my friends recently about how she was telling me that she has a friend that isn't a bad person, but isn't a good person in her life. And so because she's not a bad person, she feels really bad for, not wanting to continue this friendship. And that got me thinking that this is kind of a situation I think a lot of people get stuck in like their 20s, is that they outgrow people. You may have friendships that, I think I talked earlier about this in my podcast. I don't know what episode it was, but like people, there's nothing wrong with not wanting to continue a friendship with somebody that maybe you were really tight with at like 14 and you guys just like don't get along that well anymore. Not anything bad, but it's just like your personalities have changed. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But in her situation, this was not somebody she's known for a long time, but she just kind of like slowly over time realized that like, this is not a good person to keep in my life. I don't think there's anything really like bad about her, but it's just like, we are going in such different directions that I just don't see any purpose in continuing this friendship. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And so I kind of like gave my 2 cents. I had kind of a pretty bad friendship falling out. I've completely forgot about this. So me and my friend talking about the situation got me thinking. I was like, I feel like I should tell this story on my podcast about how it's okay to cut people off or no longer want to continue a relationship with them when you just feel like it's not the right thing for you. You don't have to have like some concrete reason. This person is horrible. They did you dirty. Like there can be like very minor things that you're just like, I don't think this is working. And you shouldn't feel guilt for that. And so I'm going to tell you guys a story about how I ended we've been friends for like 8 years when I finally just realized I couldn't do it anymore. And still to this day, I don't think she's a bad person, but she was really hindering me in like my personal growth. And like we were just on such different life paths that I was like, I can't do this friendship anymore. And I'm going to just preface right here, trigger warning. Yes, there was actually some major reasons. Like she did do something bad, but this had been in my head before this incident occurred, and the incident occurred and it really like solidified, like this is not somebody I can have in my life anymore. So I'm going to get into the conversation I had with my friend. I'm going to tell you guys a story and hopefully it can help you guys navigate, when to end a friendship, when to realize you need to move on from somebody, and just like feeling less guilt and doing what's best for you, especially in your 20s. Your 20s is a time for you to be selfish and really figure out what you want in life and who you want to surround yourself with. And you don't really need like huge glaring reasons to make a decision that you feel is best for yourself. So let's get into it. basically, I'm not going to tell my friend's name because for privacy reasons, but I was talking to my friend. She was telling me how she went out with this girl. I'm just going to call this girl Stacy. She went out with Stacy, and after going out with Stacy, kind of like some things that happened that night, just kind of like general behavior issues. She was just like, I don't think this is somebody that I think is super great for me. She was like, I don't think Stacy's a bad person, but like Stacy's very much in like party girl era, kind of really wild, and like my friend is starting to kind of like settle down. She doesn't really like the clubbing life and everything. And there's nothing wrong with like going out and partying and stuff, but she just felt like they're in totally different spaces, like headspaces, life spaces, that she's like, I don't see any reason in like keeping this friendship. I just feel like this friendship is just like one that I can burn time with, which isn't really valuable. I could like be doing something else. And she felt really bad for that because she was like, there's nothing wrong with this girl. I don't think she's a bad person, and I don't want to hurt her feelings. But I was like, you have to be selfish. Like, if this is somebody that like you don't have to even like tell the person. You can just, just tell her like, I'm busy. Like, if you're wanting to direct your time somewhere else, whether it's like she was recently getting her real estate license, like studying more, just tell the girl you're studying more. It's not a lie. You're wanting to like put this time that you would be out like drinking and partying and doing something actually beneficial, and just tell her you're busy. And I think over time they'll just realize, okay, like my friend, she's just never available to like go party and stuff, and Stacy will find another group of people to like, go do that with if that's not something that you're like interested in doing anymore. And I told her the story about how I had a friend that I met in high school. She was one of my early friends in high school, and we always had problems. I'm gonna be honest, like we always had problems. She was a really nice girl, but from even when I met her, there's a lot of TikToks. It's just, and I will die on this hill, it is so hard to be friends with a girl that is boy crazy. It is so hard because I always knew with this girl, like she was fun to hang out with, she was sweet and everything, but I always knew at the end of the day, this girl would pick a guy over me any day. Like that, her loyalty was with guys that she wanted to date, sleep with, whatever, and not me if I was to get in the way of that. I know I would never be picked. And that always like concerned me, and it never became a problem until I only had like one, I don't even call this, I only had like one kind of boyfriend in high school. Kind of boyfriend because like we literally dated for like we dated for like 3 years, but I mean dated as in like literally nothing happened. I think we held hands and went to the movies like 4 times, but we would talk a ton. He was more of my friend, but I did really care about this person, and this girl, I'm gonna call her Samantha. Samantha knew this. Samantha was my best friend. She knew who this guy was, like the whole details and everything. Samantha and I were kind of like a part of like a trio friendship. I'm gonna call the other girl Julie. It's really close to the real name, but Samantha, me, and Julie. And Samantha told Julie that she really liked the guy that I had basically been like dating for 3 years. And do you think that Brooke would be mad because like we weren't even like dating at the time. We were like mad at each other. So we weren't currently in a relationship. And she was like, do you think Brooke would be mad like if I like started up a relationship with this guy or like started flirting with him or something? And Julie was like, yeah, what the dude, like no, you can't do that, like girl code. So anyway, what I mean by this girl would always pick the guy over me, hurting my feelings, whatever. She disregarded what Julie said, and she ended up trying to get with, talk to, date, whatever with my like kind of boyfriend of 3 years. And this was the only boy I ever had any sort of like romantic involvement in high school with, like ever. So I was like, what the ended up causing a fallout between us. And then down the road, I think it was my senior year of high school, me and Samantha were not friends because of this. I was like, you know what? I kind of felt the red flags early on that you were like boy crazy, and this ended up causing a problem. You're not somebody I'm interested in like having a friendship with. But I became friends with this girl, Sally, in high school. Sally was talking mad behind my back. And Samantha, even though we weren't friends at the time and she knew that I hated her because of what she did to me and like tried to steal like my kind of boyfriend, she told me. And she was right. She told me, she was like, hey, this girl you're hanging out with that you think is your BFF, like, I know we're not chill anymore, but she's not your friend. Like, she talks mad shit about you. She had proof. She had, like, texts and screenshots. Like I don't even know how the she had all this shit. And it was true because then I, like, confronted other people about it, and they were like, oh, yeah, she talks mad shit about you. I was like, what? So because Samantha told me that, I kind of reopened our friendship because I was like, you didn't have any loyalty to me. You did not have to do that. You could have been like, I don't with Brooke either, that bitch, and like kind of just laughed at me and also talked shit. But you told me and like kind of like saved me from this like person. So I reopened the door of us being friends again, and we became really close friends again. And so Samantha and I ended up going to different colleges, and but she went to college in state and I went to college out of state. So whenever I would return home for breaks, random weekends, whatever, I would always see her. Like, we would spend all of our time together. And this girl was still boy crazy when we like became friends again. But I didn't ever think it would become a problem because we were in college, in different colleges. Like, she didn't know the guys that I was friends with. I didn't really know a lot of the guys that she was talking to. Yeah, we were just like friends. So I never saw it becoming a problem. But this is like what I mean by this person wasn't a bad person, but Samantha had a lot of really bad home problems, and just she had a lot of struggles growing up. That I think she had really low self-esteem. And she started, obviously, even in high school, she was a little bit boy crazy. But I think it became, like, out of control as we became older because she didn't feel good about herself for a variety of reasons. And I feel guilty talking about this because this is somebody else's, like, issues, but I'm not naming them. But this is just how I kind of read the situation. She was struggling a lot. And I could tell, like, through her actions and how she would, like, compare her weight to mine, like compare attention that I would get over hers. Like, it was just like, she was my friend, but it also just felt like she was my friend, but it also just felt like she was in constant competition with me. And I wasn't like that, but I could just kind of tell from like the behavior that I was just like, and I just kind of brushed it off. I was like, you know what? It's minor things. It wasn't causing like a glaring issue. And like, I was going to school, I was getting my degree, like I was in a long-term relationship. I had like a healthy home life. I had a good relationship with my sibling, like, and Samantha, like, was barely going to school. She kept, like, transferring because of issues with, like, making friends, which I don't judge anybody for, but was just, like, she was really struggling in all aspects, with work, with school, with family, and with her own, like, self-image issues. And I felt like and I know for a fact I was her only friend because her mom told me. Her mom pulled me aside and she was like, you are Samantha's only friend. And I felt bad because I was like, this person is really struggling. Like, I am her only friend. So I let Samantha lean on me so hard. Like, I was there for her. When I had to do I would just, you know what, push it to the side because I wanted to spend time with her. Like, we spent so much time together. And it became really suffocating because I felt like I was trying to keep this person from literally drowning. And I would try so hard of being like, let's do like a workout class together, or like, let's go do something fun that's like besides drinking and like just laying in bed and like watching TV. Like, we would basically just kind of like do depression activities together. And I was trying to like get her to like do other things to hopefully like make her feel better. She never wanted to, but I felt so bad like leaving this person. And so I didn't really know what to do because I was like pushing work aside. I was pushing personal goals aside to like spend time with this person because I knew how bad they were struggling. And then it became an issue when Samantha started kind of like using boys as a crutch for this kind of, she had a lot of self-destructive behavior, and it seeped into like her relationships with guys. And this is in no way, shape, form, any sort of like bashing. The issue was not with what she was doing. The issue was like how it was impacting me. Samantha would literally, I feel bad saying this. Samantha would literally sleep with anybody. Like, and I know it was rooted in like poor self-esteem issues. And she started blowing me off to just go hook up with guys. And I was like, okay, dog, like I kind of cleared my schedule to be there for you. And now you're like blowing me off for a Tinder date. And then like when we would hang out, all she wanted to do was invite guys over to hang out with us too. And I didn't really have much of an interest in that, but I didn't care. I was like, okay, we can like hang out with them, I guess. I don't really know who these people are. But then she would leave me with like strangers to go hook up with whoever the was at the house. So I hit a wall with it. I was like, this isn't fun to me. This may be fun to you, but this is like super self-destructive behavior. Like we could be doing something else. Why is this all you want to do? And I never called her out for it because I was like, I just felt bad. And so time keeps going. I start getting really frustrated with her. There are some elements I'm going to go into that I'm just, even though I'm not naming her name, I can't talk about these things, but, it got so bad. It got so bad at one point that there was something that was going on that I had to literally intervene with her family with. And her family wasn't even like that close, I felt like, to her, which is a part of like the issue, I think, what was going on. But I needed somebody else that was a higher person than me to help me with this. So I had to like contact her family and be like, this is bad. And I think she resented me for it. I think I would try to help her, and it felt like she was like resenting me for trying to help her. It's like she wanted to drown, and she wanted to drown me with her, is what it started to feel like, because like she didn't want to go down alone. And I was her only friend. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I was literally told that like I was her only friend. And it was very apparent because I would spend every weekend and night during the week with her literally anyway. So, and I don't know if I trigger warned this in the beginning. Trigger warning, I'm going to mention, I'm not going to get into details, but I'm going to mention SA. So I got to a point where I came back home from school. It was New Year's Eve, and I got invited to go to a party with a bunch of people that I had grown up with, like middle school had like grown up with. Like these were kids I have known my entire life. And I wanted to invite Samantha. I was like, okay, let's go. We're going to a New Year's Eve party. And we got there, and there was a boy there that I have known since I was in kindergarten. Like, I've known this kid my entire life. We're, like, family friends. This is somebody very close to me. And Samantha thought he was really cute. So I told him, and I was like, hey, Samantha thinks you're really cute. He was not interested. He was like, nope, I'm good. I'm kind of, like, just doing my own thing. Like, thanks for letting me know I'm good. So I was like, hey, Samantha, like, he's not interested in you. So night goes on. People are drinking more. I'm just not going to get into it, but long story short, I think I've said that so many times. Samantha ended up, I got sick. I'll be honest, I don't really drink that much, and it was New Year's Eve, and I drank a little bit too much. So I was in the bathroom, and I did not feel well, and Samantha was just out there socializing with people. I thought she was fine. She was, like, getting along with everybody. Samantha really didn't drink. Like, I drank casually, and, like, I ended up drinking too much. Like, Samantha, like, in no setting I, like, really ever drank. So I know for a fact that, like, Samantha was sober. And during that time I was in the bathroom, she ended up going with my childhood guy friend that I am really close to, and essayed him. And I didn't even know this till the next morning. So he texted me and he was like, I did not consent to that. Like, who is that? And he was asking me a lot of like questions. And I felt so bad because like she was the outside person. Like I brought her to this party and she did this to my friend. Like I felt like I had brought somebody dangerous into a space of like very close people to me. So I felt so guilty. And like to this day, those texts from my friend, and also it ruined my relationship with this guy friend of mine that I've known since a child. I feel like I don't really hear from him. I never really heard from him after this, because I think he associated this person with me. And I was like, oh no. First of all, that you can't do that. Guy or girl, like right here and now, you can't do not touch anybody without their consent. Like it's not that difficult. So I texted her the next morning, and that was just kind of the nail in the coffin. Like I knew deep down prior, like she wasn't a bad person before this. Like it was just a lot of like self-sabotage behavior, and I felt like she was drowning me, but I felt bad for her. And like we were on such different life paths, I didn't have the balls to cut her off, because I would felt guilty leaving this person. Even though I know she was harming me in like personal growth. And then after this happened, it was just a nail in the coffin. So I texted her the next day, and I like point blank period, I told her like, we cannot be friends anymore. I told her what she did was completely wrong. I told her that she needed to talk to him, but if he doesn't want to talk to you, then like, I didn't really know how to navigate it, but long story short, I told her, like, if any of my guy friends did this, it would be no question to cut that person off. But so I have to hold you to the same standard. Like, I felt so bad and so guilty for bringing her around him. And just like embarrassed that I associated myself with this person, embarrassed that I had let this kind of like person be in my life for so long, because after that happened, it was just like, damn girl, you ignored so many red flags, even from us being as children, not even children, but like teenagers. Like, there were red flags in the beginning that I just kind of overlooked, because when she was good, she was good. I don't think she was a bad person. She had a lot of really up things happen to her as a kid, and I used to just excuse her behavior because of it. And I wanted to be there for this person, but it hit a point where I was like, I can't be there for you anymore. And I especially can't be there for you anymore when you are harming people around me and making me lose relationships with people that I've known my entire life because they're associating me with this kind of behavior. And I was like, and it's also just wrong. Like, you can't do that. So she texted me back and she was like, oh my God, I will never forget this. She said, oh my God, do you think I could get into any legal trouble? Not like, oh my God, that's not what happened. Oh my God, I feel so bad. Like, her biggest concern was, can I get into trouble? And that was just like, if that really your reaction to this, really? I didn't even reply to that text. I was like, I just clean cut it. She texted me, my birthday was like 2 months later. She texted me happy birthday. I didn't reply, and I've never heard from her since. And in the beginning, I felt some remorse with cutting this person off, even after what she did, just because I felt bad, like, because I was so close to her and seeing the pain that I felt like this person was going through in her personal life and her personal relationships and, like, just, like, with her self-worth. Like, I don't know. I hate saying this, but, like, I'm an empathetic person. Like, I wasn't going through anything like that, but I've been in a really dark place. And I wouldn't want somebody to leave me. So I was really trying to like help her. And it just got to a point where, like, if you're in a relationship with somebody or a friendship with somebody and they're not doing anything maybe like directly harmful to you, but like their outside behavior is harming you, you really have to look in and being like, is this friendship even serving me any purpose? Like, it wasn't even bringing me happiness. Like I said, I felt like I was drowning with this person. Like, I felt like I was just trying to keep this person like afloat. And she was really like because she didn't have any friends and I felt like I was her only friend, I really spent all my free time. I would still like knock out stuff I needed to do to spend more time with her. I spent all of the time that I could give to another human being to this person. So I really didn't have any other friends but this person. So I kind of felt isolated, and I was like, who am I going to hang out with? Even though this friendship was like bad for me, I felt really bad because I was like, who the am I going to hang out with now? Like, this is kind of my only friend. I kind of isolated myself to this person. Like, I didn't want this person to spiral even more. Because I would have felt guilty in that. I mean, I felt that feeling when I, had to cut off my first relationship because obviously it ended up in a restraining order. But, the whole, this is a really heavy episode. If you leave me, I'm going to kill myself. That's kind of like what this friendship felt like. That's what my first relationship felt like. And it just like guilt kept me in those relationships and friendships way too long. And now I'm very, very, very closed off with like who I let into my life because, I kind of like, I was like, oh, you want to be my friend? I'll be your friend. I'm going to overlook all of the red flags and judgments because I think everybody deserves like a friend. And I'm like, I'll be there for you. You got no friends. I've been there before. I've been a lonely person. So I just kind of like overlook a lot of red flags, but then I had to like self-reflect about how that it was actually harming me. So that goes back to the conversation I had with my friend. And I was like, yes, there was a very bad thing that happened at the end. But if you're already feeling those red flags of like, this is not somebody that I should have in my life. We don't align with goals. We don't align with like life trajectory. We have very different like interest, but like, maybe you're staying in it because that person's lonely. That's kind of what my friend was saying about the girl that she wanted to cut off, is that she was like, I feel like I'm her only friend. She was a single mom, but she was really stuck in a party phase. She was like, I feel bad leaving her. She's not a bad person. Just very different interests, but like, I'm literally her only friend. You can't stay friends with somebody just because you're their only friend, because you're trying to save this person. You really can't save anybody. Like, this goes to show, I really tried. I'm not going to get into all of the details and everything, but like I really, really, really tried. She would complain about like she would want to lose weight. I would go on a diet with her. I would try to eat healthier with her. I offered to go to workout class with her just so she had somebody there with her to kind of like hold her hand through this process, and like whatever she would like convey things that she wanted to do, and I would go with her because I knew that she didn't want to be alone. And so I feel like I'm digressing, but there's nothing wrong when you get like a really, even in like the early stages, if you just have an inkling, I don't think this person is that good for me, but I would feel really bad cutting them off because they haven't really done anything bad yet. Why are you going to wait till it gets really bad? Why did I wait till that got so bad that, you know, somebody who was very close to me got physically harmed because of me not wanting to get rid of this person that I knew was kind of not good for me, and had their own problems that they needed to sort out. And I mean, still to this day, I hope I don't get hate for this, but like, even what she did, I would never be friends with her again. I would never allow her around anybody around me. And I don't hate anybody. I still have a lot of anger towards her for what she did to my friend, because it was so wrong. And to be like clean right here, like as somebody who has been SA'd, like it made me so mad that I allowed somebody to get close to somebody else I cared about and had that situation happen to them. But I don't wish her any ill will. I really hope that she heals. You shouldn't feel bad for wanting to remove a friendship just because you just kind of have a bad vibe. It's your life, and maybe they'll hate you for it, and maybe they'll talk mad about you for it, and you know, and I'm not saying just go around and cut everybody off just because you feel like it. Like there's a whole difference between like being a and just being like, I don't want to be her friend anymore, to being like, there's some real issues here that I've like really thought about and I don't really know. And if you're comfortable with it, convey that. I could have cut her off and like clean cut it, told her nothing, never spoke to her again. But we had been friends for so long, I felt like I didn't owe her anything. Oh, and I totally forgot about that. When after it happened, I didn't text her for days. I think it went on for like a week and a half. She was blowing up my phone. She was like, you owe me an explanation as to why you're not like talking to me. Like, what the is going on? Like, I at least deserve that. And I was so angry. I was like, you don't deserve anything. Like, you don't deserve an explanation. I don't have to tell you jack why I don't want you in my life anymore. I feel like she knew the reason. She just wanted to hear it come out of my mouth. She wanted the closure. And I don't even know where I stand with that now. If I like really I know I don't really owe her anything, but I don't know if I should have even told her or not. But I wanted her to know. I think what I like sat on it and I was like, I want her to know. I want her to know what she did was so wrong. Hopefully she better not do it again. And this is why I'm not friends with you. Like, because this behavior is not okay. And I really put up with a lot of not okay behavior before that. But this is like where I absolutely draw the line. So overall, that's kind of what I like conveyed to my friend, that she was like, I have bad vibes. And I was like, look, I had bad vibes too. I had bad vibes for years. I had bad vibes since the beginning. Yes, she was sweet. She was fun to hang out with, but there were some really big, like, glaring issues. And I overlooked them. Like, why wait till it gets so bad? There's nothing wrong, especially when, like, you're trying to find yourself in your 20s of just being like, this is not the person for me. Sorry. And moving on. So hopefully they can figure out why these people keep leaving their life. You know, again, I talked about this in a previous episode. I kept losing a lot of friends and it made me really self-reflect. Do I think I was doing anything horrifically wrong? No, but I definitely think I kind of became more self-aware with just like my behavior, and was able to work on a lot of things because it became more apparent. I don't know how to say this. I wasn't doing anything like horrible, but like obviously I was a teenager. I needed to like grow as a person. So when like people exit your life, it makes you kind of look at yourself as to like, why is this happening? Kind of like self-reflect a little bit. And even if you are Gandhi, I still think you need to like self-reflect. And, you know, Mother Teresa, like you need to just self-reflect on your behavior so that way you can grow. You're not going to like grow if you're not aware of like who you are and like how you conduct yourself with other people, you know? And people walking out of your life makes you really look. So if you are in your 20s, even if you're early teens, even if you're in their late 20s, if you're in any stage of life and there is a friend and you feel bad for cutting them off, but you really feel like deep down, this is not the person for you. This is not somebody that should be in your life. This is not somebody who's bringing you any joy, who's bringing you any happiness, that is quite frankly making you feel bad when you hang out with them, but you feel too guilty to leave them. Leave them. Because after I cut out that person and I started having more of my free time back, I was in less demanding friendships, and I made friendships with people that, were in a similar headspace to me, similar goals. I don't think I would even be a YouTuber, to be completely honest, because at the time that I cut her off, because she was really my only friend and everything at that time, because I had isolated so heavily to her, I didn't have any friends really, and I wasn't really willing to, which I've also talked about in a different episode, I wasn't really willing to put myself out there to make new friends. I kind of wanted to just focus on myself, which then led me to get really heavy into uploading YouTube videos because I was alone. So had I not, and I'm not saying by cutting this person off, this is the only reason that I'm successful today, but I don't think I would be in the same position that I'm in right now had I allowed this person to stay in my life, regardless of the incident that happened at the end. Even if that hadn't happened, I don't think I would be where I am today, by spending all my time trying to focus on saving somebody else. So be selfish with your time. Be selfish with, your relationships. Just be selfish. I don't think there's any shame in that. There's to a degree, but putting yourself first, there ain't nothing wrong with that. And you should never feel any guilt or shame for just ending a relationship with somebody. And, I've ended relationships with people where I'm like, hey, I just don't think that, we're very similar anymore. And, I love you. I wish you the best. But, I got to, focus on myself right now. And I've had people be like, that's totally understandable. Love you. Wish you the best. There's a friend of mine who we were friends in high school, kind of a little bit into college. She moved to Colorado, and we just so different interests. No bad blood with this person. She texted me congratulating me when I hit 100,000 subs, but I think it was pretty clear that we just were such different people. And it was just a clean cut, healthy break kind of thing. So I feel if you get a really, really, really negative reaction out of it, then I think you might have done the right thing by cutting that person off then. Because I think anybody that, if you have a calm conversation of we're just different people, dude, and I gotta focus on myself and I wish you the best and love you. I don't think I would ever be mad at anybody for saying that to me. If they truly felt like that. So if they get angry at you, I think you did the right thing. Sorry if that was kind of a heavy ass episode. I completely forgot about this situation until I was having this conversation with my friend, and I was like, holy shit, this would be a really good podcast episode because, I think this is a common problem. Not as severe of a case as I had what was going on, but just obviously my friend brought it to me. She's the same age as me. It's just how the when do you know when to cut somebody off? How do you cut somebody off and not feel guilty for it? And even though if I know it's the right thing to do, how do I even do that? Figuring out if it's the right thing to do. So hopefully this conversation helps you navigate, what friendships should I be keeping? Which friendships should I not be keeping? And, what's best for me? And just kind of I think a part of self-reflection is also reflecting on the people that you have around you. Are these good people? Are these people that I want in my life? I don't feel we don't ask ourselves that question. I think we ask ourselves about goals and am I doing what I want to do? Am I happy and everything? But we don't really think sometimes externally around us. Am I in the circle of friends that I should be? Am I spending my time with people that I actually should be? So self-reflecting, I think, also includes outside of just yourself and who you spend your time with. Yeah. Okay. So I hope you guys like this episode. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Comment something down below. I like replying to your guys' comments always. And hopefully I will see you guys soon. Okay. Bye.